And I don't want to be a negative Nancy out here hosting the herd. But I'm telling you, the defending Super Bowl champs are going to have some problems. Now, I mentioned this, we do the pre-show call before we take the air, earlier this morning. And I tell the guys, Ryan and Greg, two guys I've known for a while, that I can see the Rams maybe missing the playoffs. I'm not predicting they'll miss the playoffs. I'm saying I foresee some problems. And they were like silent for a second. They're like, oh, hot take. We like it. We like it, Jay. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, listen, guys, I can do hot take happy hour, okay? That is fun. This ain't hot take happy hour. I saw one of the most shocking stats because I keep this notes section in my phone for all sorts of like interesting nuggets that I read or hear. And this one is stunning to me. The Rams have one of the 3 toughest schedules in the NFL this season. And you'd have to look really hard to notice this. But the defending Super Bowl champs, if you look at the teams that are favored to win the Super Bowl based on the gambling odds, the Rams play the top 8. All 8 favorites to play the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, the Rams face them. And they face one of them, the 49ers, twice. That is an absolutely brutal schedule. The only reason it's not the toughest in the league is because they're very good. Now, to go along the offensive line theme that we've talked about during the show, their left guard, Whitworth, the rock of that offensive line, he gone. He retired. Now, I know they replaced him with Note Boom, who has done well, but again, he's never been like a full-year starter. He's a great backup. And I just wonder if you look at the offensive line. I know they have Allen Robinson in place of Beckham. I think that's a huge win. You look at how the Rams are built. They are built very top-heavy, right? You talk about brands in the NFL. One of my favorite things Cowherd does is brands for teams. I don't know if he's done this for the NFL, but like you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, their brand is defense. We are in a blue-collar city. We're going to win in the trenches. We're going to push you around with TJ Watt and company. We're going to hit hard. It's going to be, you go into Pittsburgh, it's a body bag game. Pittsburgh's brand is toughness, right? You look at the Rams, their brand that they're building, that they're cultivating under Sean McVay, which I love, is we are star-driven. Fits well, right? Being in the city of Hollywood and L.A. and crowbarring your way into the stratosphere in Los Angeles is tough. So what do? We are going to go with heavy on the stars, and then we'll just fill in the gaps with new guys. Go look at who cornerback 2 is opposite Jalen Ramsey. Go take a look. Tell me if you've heard of him. Tell me if you're familiar with his work. But listen, it worked last year. Now, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Matt Stafford, like 60% of this roster is very interchangeable. Remember, they had a great team 2 years ago, and then they just lost a bunch of guys to free agency. Hey, we can afford to lose 2 safeties. We've got Jalen Ramsey. We've got Aaron Donald. There are some holes on this team, and there is not a lot of room for error if somebody were to go down with an injury. Now, you look at the health for McVay's teams, and for whatever reason, they are always healthy. They are one of the healthiest teams in the league the last 3 years. Which is great news, right? As long as you're healthy. Now, I know some people will say, but Cam Akers, Robert Woods went down. Yeah, I'm aware. There's a couple. By and large, they have been healthy under McVay. Now, I know McVay doesn't play any guys in the preseason. Stafford has this elbow issue. I like the Rams brand. I like what they're building. I can't get past this schedule. I can't. And I think the Bills are going to beat them in the opener. And yes, I know McVay, 5-0 against the spread, 5-0 straight up in career season opening games. He's very good. They'll beat the Falcons. They'll beat the doors off the Falcons in week 2. Arizona, San Fran, Dallas. After that ain't easy. It will not be easy. And then you start getting into the meat of the schedule. You're like, damn, they come out of the bye week, the early bye, which is not great. They come out of the bye. They got San Francisco, Tom Brady, Arizona again. At New Orleans, at Kansas City. They've got to go to Aaron Rodgers in December. They've got to go to the Chargers. I'm sorry, not to the Chargers. Chargers are a home game. But in between, after Green Bay and going there, they come back for a Christmas date with Russell Wilson. Then they stay at home to face the Chargers. I mean, you look at who's facing tougher quarterbacks in this 3-game stretch than Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Justin Herbert in December and January 1 for the Chargers game, when everything's going to be on the line. Now, I know the NFC's down, and I like the Rams, but, music practically fell out, dropped the phone when I said, I think there's a scenario where the Rams miss the playoffs. Some people, I believe Cowherd, has the Rams in the Super Bowl again. That's insanity. Music, Rams, playoffs, Super Bowl, or miss the playoffs?
Jason, I would say that I almost called Colin on vacation and said, Colin, we've made a horrible mistake. It's 8:15. Is there any way we can set you up on a remote broadcast? Because Jason's going to come to the airwaves with just some total lunacy that will just bring down the credibility of this show. Now, listen, I get what you're saying. I think when you look at the Rams, anything short of catastrophic injuries across the board, which is equally as likely for just about any team in the NFL, it's not that they're just star-driven, is that they're so star-driven across the board in most key positions, losing just one of them won't topple their season. I mean, you look at last year, they had almost just as tough as a schedule last year with the teams that they played, and it almost prepared them for the trials that you have to go through in the postseason. So sure, if they lose a Jalen Ramsey, that would very much hurt their defense, and maybe it would take them out of the Super Bowl. But unless you lose a Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald and a Cooper Kupp, I just don't see them as the type of team that would be like, oh, wow, somehow they only won 9 games this year, because it just didn't really work out. Now, there's a reason why, since the 02-03 or 03-04 Patriots are the only ones who have ever won back-to-back Super Bowls. So I can understand why you'd have your hesitation about them being back-to-back Super Bowl champs. But simply making the playoffs, considering there are multiple wild cards up for grabs, I think it's a stretch.
Okay. Listen, I'm not betting against the Rams to miss the playoffs. I just think there is a scenario that's not unbelievably bad where they miss the playoffs. You look at those linebackers. I know people are already probably sending me messages. Bobby Wagner. Folks, there's a reason there wasn't a robust market for Bobby Wagner. I like McVay a lot. I read a great story on him by Seth Wickersham recently about his work ethic, and I'm all in on McVay. The dude is really likable. I like Stafford a lot. Cooper Kupp is my favorite receiver. I was at Rams-Niners, the NFC Conference Championship game. I've never heard a stadium louder than SoFi. It was a crucial third down, driving for the go-ahead score, and I told my kids, yelling at them 2 feet away from me, Cooper Kupp, watch Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp put a move on the cornerback on the slant, broke 2 tackles, and it was deafening. I'll remember it forever. And what was really funny was this 49ers fan. There were some rowdy, drunk 49ers fans, and they are, he was 11 years old. I took him in the bathroom. I was like, listen, earmuffs this, and there's just obscenities, real vile stuff getting yelled by these drunk Niners fans. And one of the 49ers fans was so devastated after the Cooper Kupp play. He just walks up the stairs, puts his hands on his head, falls down 5 stairs, and onto the behind us. My kids are like, oh my God, this guy dead. He just pops up. He was fine. But it was just I like the Rams. They're easy to root for, and I'm not rooting for them to miss the playoffs. And I know this is doom and gloom to say, oh, come on, Rams could miss the playoffs. Guys, they were 7-4 at one point last year. They also won their final 3 playoff games by a field goal apiece. They were not a dominant team like we've seen in the past with some other Super Bowl champions.